Here we are on an Oracle Linux 6.5 box that I've named Oralin. I'm going to open up a terminal. I have a shortcut to the terminal on my desktop here, but if you don't, you can always open up Applications, System Tools, Terminal from GNOME. I'm also going to open up the View menu and zoom in a little bit so you can see more. There we go. That's good. I'm going to cat etc hosts to show you that I have an entry in there for my Oralin machine. And normally what we do when we're not using DNS is that we can add an entry for hostname.local domain, and I've done that. You'll want to definitely make use of the resources file that I include in this series, because the resource file for this lesson is going to give you all of the Oracle base recipe pages that we'll be referencing. Just so you know what I'm talking about, let me quickly buzz through those recipe pages that I find helpful. This is a page that gives us concise instructions for connecting to the public Yum server. I'll explain what that is in just a moment. There's an Oracle Tech Network article called How I Simplified Oracle Database 12c Installations on Oracle Linux 6 that discusses the pre-installation package that we'll be using. And then at Oracle Base, Tim has a step-by-step walkthrough of how to install Oracle Linux 6 optimized for Oracle database installation. And then most importantly, he has a walkthrough of installing Oracle Database 12c on Oracle Linux 6. So this is some really useful recipe stuff for you. Now, if you have an Oracle support arrangement, you can download that prerequisite RPM from there. But if you're like the rest of us who are learning and who do not have a support arrangement, you can actually configure your Linux host to download from the Oracle public Yum server. Yum, of course, is the package manager that we use in Oracle Linux and Red Hat Enterprise Linux. What we'll want to do is first go to the etc yum.reposd directory, and then we'll use wget to pull down the repo file. Note that it's public-yum-ol6, not o16.repo. There we go. It didn't like that. Why don't I become the root user and then try that again? One more time with feeling. Great. And it's a good idea, actually, to do a Yum update to make sure that your Linux host is up to date with all of its software. Fortunately, I just have a little bit to download, less than half of a megabyte. That ought to go pretty quickly. So let me clear the screen with clear, and now we can do a Yum install. We're going to pull down the prerequisite package from the public Yum repository. It's Oracle-rdbms-server-12cr1 pre-install, and I'll throw in a Y flag. And you can see what's coming down there, a bunch of dependencies. It's going to do user creation. This is just such an excellent time saver for us. And that happened pretty quickly, didn't it? Technically, we could do another Yum update. No problem. Let's clear the screen.